Hey everyone, Zell here, and today we're going to be looking at weapon stats in Destiny. Now, what are we going to be looking at? Well, to start off with, we're going to be looking at attack, which is the very topmost stat. Then there's rate of fire, impact, range, stability, reload, charge time for fusion rifles, blast radius, and velocity for rocket launchers. Then there's magazine size. We're going to be talking about those, and we're going to be talking a little bit about how handling works in the game, how recoil works in the game, and how maximum ammo capacity works in the game as well. I was thinking about adding optics, but it makes sense. Certain optics allow you to do different things, and they're pretty cut and dry once everything else is talked about. So, getting into it with attack at top. So, attack is a number that goes from whatever the lowest attack weapon is to up to 300 currently. What this allows you to do is have a higher base value to start your equations from impact, and also how your level incorporates into your damage. Some people say that this value, when it's higher at near 300, it affects how much damage you deal to creatures of a higher level, which I don't really see that happening, but that might be part of it. I think really what affects you damaging higher level creatures is the fact that you're a higher level. We see when you're 2 levels or more away from something below, you don't deal nearly as much damage or any damage at that fact if they aren't a readable level. And when you get a level above, I don't really see much of a difference when you're a level above compared to their current level. So that's how leveling works with damage, I feel, but really what affects damage is your level compared to the creature and the impact of the weapon. So, going on to the next thing, rate of fire. Each individual gun has a rate of fire base, and by individual gun I mean individual type of gun. So, there's going to be certain guns that fire faster, assault rifles, and certain guns that fire slower, hand cannons or sniper rifles. And then when you add the rate of fire to them, they get faster and faster based on their base speed. So auto rifles will be shooting a lot faster than like a automatic scout rifle, for example. Then we have impact. Impact means how much damage will this gun do compared to other guns of the same type. When you take 2 hand cannons that have 300 damage, and you have one that has almost no impact and one that has a lot of impact, you'll notice a huge difference in damage, especially within criticals, which is another gun stat that I might actually talk about a little bit. Because while we're talking about damage, how do criticals work? Well, if you notice, machine guns crit a lot less of a value than a hand cannon or a sniper rifle being the highest. And then there's certain guns like fusion rifles that do not crit, but they also have a special thing that I'll be talking about later. So that's how impact works. Getting into the next one, range. Well, range is how far away you can shoot the creature before you have the range drop off, which makes your damage be in half. So say if you deal 100 damage per shot and you hit your range drop off, then you'll be doing 50 damage per shot. And range dictates when that happens, except for fusion rifles. Fusion rifles do not have a maximum range. Then we have stability, which dampens or reduces the amount of recoil. And recoil is one of those hidden stats, I feel. And what recoil does is it affects like the direction and the amount of kick a gun has. So when you're looking at, say, the Super Good Advice, which I think has one of the worst recoils in the game, it'll kick 2 feet to the left and kick 2 feet to the right, and that's an example of how recoil could be the most devastating. And then you have other guns like the Suros Regime, which have really high stability, almost no recoil within the natural gun, which is crazy. Then we have charge time, which is a fusion rifle specific value. And what charge time does is it affects the charge time of the gun. When you have a fusion rifle, you can't shoot right away. You have to let it charge up and then shoot. And with that, and with fusion rifles, the best way to do that is to charge, acquire your target directly, then aim, then fire to get to your shot. Like when you shoot and it's not aimed in, your pocket is going to be a lot larger than if you were aimed where your pocket is smaller. That's what I mean by that. The cluster of bullets is going to be a lot more wide and spread out if you don't aim, but there's no point in aiming if you're not firing it, so you fire right before your charge time finishes, if that makes sense. Then we have blast radius to rockets. Blast radius affects how big the damage AoE effect of the rocket is going to be, and then we have velocity, which is how fast the rocket will travel to its destination. Sometimes you get really slow rockets, and it seems like the enemies even know that, and they just kind of like, I'm not gonna be in that area, so see ya, guy. Now, the other things that are with weapons are handling, which is how fast you ready your gun, aim your gun, and lower your gun for, like, say, sprinting. Then we also have the inventory factor of how much ammunition can this gun carry. Yeah, so that's another one that changes depending on a few factors I've noticed, because I've had guns, like, I remember especially when rocket launchers were my main thing, a lower rocket launcher would be having a higher max inventory than other ones, and then you could get stats through armors or skills that would allow you to raise it even more so. Then you have finally magazine, which is, will your gun hold 3 shots in the mag, or will it hold 8 shots in the mag, or will it hold 5, or, you know, what will it do? For an example, like the biggest place magazine affects is rocket launchers. Will your rocket launcher only hold 1, or will it actually hold 3, which I think are the best rocket launchers? And then it also affects machine guns. Some machine guns hold 80 shots. It's ridiculous. Usually the other stats aren't that good, but they still hold that much, which is ridiculous. And then the only other thing to maybe even touch upon, I feel, are optics, which are the different scopes and how they affect different stats, which are like all they do is affects the stats previously mentioned. And I know someone might be like, what about the optics? What about the scopes? What do they do? Some make it so that you can run faster. Some make it so that they're less bulky, so you can ready your gun through handling better. Some just affect range, and some affect stability. Stuff like that. There's tons of different things that the scopes can do, but they all go off of things previously mentioned here. And that's the video, guys. That's about weapon stats. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below, and if the video did help you in any way, please rate, comment, subscribe, like if you want to. It supports me in what I do and putting videos out. So I'll catch you guys later. See ya.